Right now, the U.S. is implementing a sweeping asylum restriction designed to ramp up migrant deportations at the U.S.-Mexico border.
This comes ahead of an expected uptick in the number of migrants trying to cross into the U.S. once the Title 42 immigration policy expires tomorrow. Migrants have been gathering along the border ahead of the end of the pandemic-era policy. The Biden administration's new regulation, though, disqualifies migrants from asylum if they fail to request refugee status in another country on their journey to the southern border. The Homeland Security Secretary said that officials will potentially meet, quote, very difficult challenges at the border in the days and weeks ahead.
Even after nearly 2 years of preparation, we expect to see large numbers of encounters at our southern border in the days and weeks after May 11th. We are already seeing high numbers of encounters in certain sectors. This places an incredible strain on our personnel, our facilities, and our communities with whom we partner closely.
Title 42 allowed U.S. border officials to cite public health concerns to swiftly expel millions of migrants. Up until tomorrow, the policy had been enforced since March of 2020. Joining us now from Brownsville, Texas, is CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga. Nicole, you've been down there for many days now. I understand the traffic of people crossing the border is reaching record levels. What else can you tell us about this new asylum restriction being enforced by the administration in the meantime?
Yeah, Errol, that traffic, more than 10,000 apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol officials in the 24-hour period yesterday, a record and twice as many as we were seeing in March. As for that asylum rule, a dramatic shift in policy. Get this. This new regulation would disqualify migrants from seeking asylum in the United States if they did not first try to find refuge in a safe third country, meaning if they're coming up through Central America and not knocking on doors on the way, they are not qualified for asylum here in the United States. On paper, disqualifying most non-Mexican migrants from seeking asylum here in the U.S., and a very, very significant pivot from an administration and a president who campaigned on restoring legal asylum in the United States. Now, there are exceptions, but according to DHS documents, they must be exceptionally compelling. For an example, an acute medical emergency. Now, DHS has been training hundreds of asylum officers in this new policy. We do expect legal challenges as soon as today, including from the ACLU.
And Nicole, how are the people that you're speaking with reacting to these new actions?
Yeah, down here on the ground, there is concern about really consistency in enforcement. I'll give you an example, Lana. We've seen it with Title 42. I was speaking to a group of Venezuelan asylum seekers yesterday who had trekked across 6 countries to make their way to the U.S.-Mexico border, paid off cartels, fought starvation, disease along the way. And when they finally got to the border, several of them were turned back under Title 42, only to then try to re-enter the country in recent days and make it. I asked, what was the difference in their encounter with U.S. law enforcement, and I got a lot of shaking heads. So concerns here about consistency in enforcing this new policy. The other big concern, mis- and disinformation. How will this news trickle down to the migrants actually seeking asylum here in the United States? I spoke with Pastor Mike Smith in Laredo of the Holding Institute. He has been welcoming migrants into his doors for weeks. Take a listen.
Right now, we've seen a little bit of a surge. The primary reason being is that people are unsure. There's a high level of uncertainty among migrants because of the end of COVID and the end of Title 42. So May 11th at midnight, it's all supposed to end, right? What happens after that? We don't know. We all turn into pumpkins or something. I have no idea. So because of that uncertainty, people that are on the Mexican side of the border, some of them are choosing to stay and wait, and some of them are choosing to, no, let's go now, because we don't know if it's going to get worse.
Lana, Errol, in that press conference with DHS Secretary Mayorkas, he called the situation desperate, begging for congressional action. And just a reminder to our viewers, we have not seen major bipartisan legislation since the Reagan administration when it comes to immigration.
Yeah. Wow, that says it all. Nicole Sganga, thank you very much.